Hi everyone, Stacy Whiter here on behalf of Campus Mortgage with a three-part video series on FHA income basics. Now just a quick reminder before we get started, this video is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal advice or used in place of FHA guidelines. Also, this video was issued on November 13th, 2018, and the information contained in this video is subject to change without notice. So let's take a look at the income basics. We're going to cover several different types of income, but for FHA, effective income is income refers to income that may be used to qualify the borrower. The income must be reasonably likely to continue for the first 3 years of the mortgage. First, let's talk about the general requirements. So lenders are required to document the borrower's income and employment history. They need to verify the accuracy of the amounts and the income being reported by the borrower. And they should only consider legally derived income. Also, they must verify the borrower's income by tax returns when it's required. Also, the lender should subtract any negative income from the borrower's gross monthly income, but they do not need to treat it as a monthly recurring liability unless otherwise noted in the guidelines. So first, let's start with W-2 employment-related income. So this is income, typical income for a borrower where they're typically salary or hourly, but they're paid by W-2 by an employer. And the lenders must document the most recent 2 years of employment and income by one of the following methods. Either first, by a traditional current employment documentation, which would include one of the most recent pay stubs and one of the following: a written verification of employment for 2 years, an electronic verification of employment acceptable to FHA. Also, the lender must go back and re-verify the employment within 10 days prior to the note date. The other method that they can use is alternative current employment documentation, which means they can obtain copies of the most recent pay stubs showing year-to-date earnings and copies of the original W-2s for the previous 2 years and document the current employment by phone, sign and date the VOE, so they would do this by doing a VOE. So it would also include the name, title, and phone number of the person at the employer who verified the employment. But just like the traditional method, the lender is still required to go back and re-verify that income or that employment within 10 days prior to the note date. Now, when it comes to past employment documentation, if the borrower has been with the same employer for 2 years, they do not need to directly verify that. As long as the current employer confirms a 2-year employment history, or the lender obtains a pay stub that reflects the borrower's hiring date, which would show the 2-year history. Also, only if the base pay is used to qualify and the borrower signs the IRS Form 4506T. If the borrower has not been with the same employer for 2 years and these conditions above can't be met, then the lender must also obtain one of the following for the previous employer: W-2, either a written VOE or a verbal VOE, or evidence of enrollment in school or military. So if if they don't really have a prior work history because they were in school or they were in the military, they would need to get evidence of that. All right, that concludes part 1 of this 3-part video series. Make sure you check out part 2 and 3. Thanks so much for watching. For more tips and videos, please visit campusmortgage.org to look for their weekly mortgage video tips designed for all mortgage professionals, including underwriters, loan officers, processors, closers, and post-closers. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.